What's good, guys? Fantasy Joe back here with my Week 4 running back rankings, half-point PPR as always. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I drop waiver wires every week, as well as buy low, sell highs, running back rankings. I respond to all people's comments in the comment section. Any fantasy football advice you need, you want to run it by somebody else, hit me up in the comment section. I got you guys. Let me know who you want to cut, who you want to start, who you want to sit. I can do it. Trade advice, anything like that. I got you guys. And please hit that like button. Helps out the algorithm as well as the comments. Really appreciate all the support we've gotten recently. Let's hop into Week 4 rankings. So number 1, Saquon Barkley against Chicago. They have just gotten taken apart by running backs recently, and I think that trend will continue with Saquon Barkley. I think they'll be in a close game and be able to run the ball as much as they want. So I think Saquon will be a great play this week. Number 2, Jonathan Taylor against Tennessee. Just got an alert that he didn't practice today, but I still think he'll be fine to go for this game, and I think they will feed him in this one, get him going. Number 3, another guy who just got added to the injury report. I think he's going to play, though. Christian McCaffrey in a get-right game against Arizona. Number 4, we got Leonard Fournette against Kansas City. I think he is going to finally punch one in the end zone in this game. Keep firing up Leonard Fournette. Trust me on that one. Number 5, we have Naji Harris against the New York Jets. I think this is a great game to play Naji. They should hopefully be winning. Hopefully they'll be able to give him a lot of carries and maybe even get this offense right in this one. Number 6, we've got Nick Chubb against Atlanta. They've been solid against running backs fantasy points allowed-wise, but I don't believe in that defense, and I do believe in Nick Chubb. Number 7, I've got Derrick Henry against Indianapolis. I think he'll get it going. Sure, they've got Buckner back, but I don't expect Shaq Leonard to be back this week, and he makes a big difference on that defense. 8, Austin Eckler. I know a lot of people are hitting the panic button. I'd be extremely nervous if I was an owner as well, but you have to play him. And this Houston matchup, if he doesn't produce in this one, then you're definitely hitting the panic button. Then you're selling him for 50 cents on the dollar. Then you're really getting worried. Number 9, this one might be a little bit of a surprise, but Khalil Herbert, I think a good matchup against the Giants. We saw what Pollard was able to do to them and Zeke last week. I think Herbert getting all the work. He's a good running back, and that offense loves to run the rock. I think he's going to have an awesome day for fantasy. Number 10, Alvin Kamara against Minnesota. Another guy's underwhelmed so far, but I think this is a get-right game for him. Good matchup. If not now, win. Number 11, Jamal Williams against Seattle. I think he's going to get a ton of work in this matchup. I think Craig Reynolds will be used as well, but great matchup for Jamal, who's a capable runner, especially when you give him the work. Number 12, Dalvin Cook. He would be higher on this list if it wasn't for the combination of the sole shoulder injury and the tough matchup against New Orleans. They've been great against running backs, and they typically are. 13, James Robinson against Philadelphia. Another guy who would probably be higher on this list if it wasn't for a tough matchup. Philly has given up some points to the running back position, but I think James Robinson will be fine in this one. Number 14, Joe Mixon against Miami. He's down here. I'm just a little worried about the ankle injury coming on a short week, and so I'm just tempering my expectations a little bit on him, but I still like Joe Mixon season long, especially if he can get healthy and get right. 15, Jeff Wilson Jr. against the Rams. With their current depth chart, he's set to get an absolute ton of work. You're plugging in Jeff Wilson basically every single week. 16, Aaron Jones against New England. New England's been pretty good on the ground so far, but Aaron Jones is a special talent, and if he didn't fumble on the goal line last week, would have saved his week against Tampa Bay, which is just a tough matchup for any running back. 17, Javonte Williams against Vegas. Great matchup for him. He's looked good running the football, and I expect them to somewhat lean on him in this game. Expect Javonte to have a good game in this one. 18, Corduro Patterson plays Cleveland. He actually has the most rushes this year for first downs. Interesting statistic. And he hasn't been utilized a ton in the passing game. He's still been super successful for fantasy football. You're playing Cordero Patterson, especially if Myles Garrett, there's a good chance he doesn't play after that car accident. James Conner at 19 against Carolina. Obviously has not been what you hoped for when you got him, but he is a guy who has that touchdown potential each and every week. He still has that, and hopefully he'll be utilized in the passing game as well moving forward. 20, Damien Pierce, just got a ton of carries, getting the absolute lion's share of that workload. Chargers have only really been susceptible on the ground. Obviously they were susceptible in multiple areas last week against Jacksonville, but on a team that wants to run the ball in Houston, I think Damien Pierce will have a good game this week. 21, Ezekiel Elliott against Washington. Tony Pollard is stealing some work for sure, and I think that will continue, but I do think Zeke will get the majority of the goal line carries, and Cooper Rush has looked solid so far this season. 22, Devin Singletary against Baltimore. This should be a good game, hopefully a shootout. I do think Buffalo will win. I think as long as they can keep it close, Devin Singletary should get a good amount of work, and he was heavily utilized in the passing game last week. Number 23, Antonio Gibson against Dallas. They've got a tough defense, but Gibson has, he has goal line opportunities. He's utilizing the passing game currently to a degree, so I think you're playing him just about every week until Brian Robinson returns. 24, A.J. Dillon against New England. Great touchdown upside for him every single week, and he is still utilized in this offense to a high degree. 25, Kareem Hunt against Atlanta. He's just an absolute stud. You don't know which week he's going to be the top 10, but you can basically play this guy each and every week in your fantasy football lineups. 26, Miles Sanders against Jacksonville. He's been utilized so far this season, double-digit carries in each and every game. Jacksonville, I'm not scared of their run defense, so you can plug him in there. Ramondre Stevenson looked great last week, got some more work than we anticipated, and he plays Green Bay this week, who has not been great on the ground. That's been probably their biggest area that they've been susceptible to is rushing yards. So I think you can play Ramondre Stevenson in this one, especially if Brian Hoyer is the starting quarterback. I think there's a good chance Mac Jones misses. 28, Rashad Penny. Great matchup for him. He had double-digit carries last week. If you can't play Rashad Penny in this game, I don't know if you can play him in any games. So if you're benching Rashad Penny, I might even consider cutting him after this one. 29, Breece Hall against Pittsburgh. I think this is the game he gets it going. I think they'll feature him more and more each and every week. The interesting note is Zach Wilson, they said, is coming back. Zach Wilson historically doesn't throw the ball nearly as much to the running back position as Joe Flacco has. So if that comes down, it will hurt the running back position just all over for them. 30, this one might come as a surprise, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire against Tampa Bay. He's utilizing under 50% of the snaps. Did not look great on the ground last week, and now gets a really tough matchup in Tampa Bay. If he's not heavily utilized in the passing game, I expect him to have another tough game. I mean, he could punch in a touchdown, but he's not the biggest back, and that Tampa Bay front is formidable. 31, Tony Pollard against Washington. Honestly, thought about putting him a little higher. He's just so explosive that he can make one play. But without that goal line work, I do worry about him a little bit. But he has the explosivity to make it a 40-yard touchdown run in his own, 60-yard touchdown run in his own. He has that. He can do that. So he doesn't necessarily need goal line work, but it might be a little bit more tricky to predict which week if he's not getting the passing down work that we figured he would. 32, Damien Harris. I like him for all the same reasons I was talking about Ramondre Stevenson. Just Ramondre, I think, is a little bit more talented, but Damien Harris is a solid play this week against Green Bay. 33, Cam Akers against San Francisco. Tough matchup, but I think Cam Akers is the guy on this team. I think he has the highest touchdown upside as well, so I am playing him over Henderson. Right now, 34, Melvin Gordon against Vegas. I just think he's got a good chance of a touchdown. He's looked good this year, even though he hasn't been utilized a ton. This offense has just looked putrid, but we saw him punch in that one in the end zone last week. They could go to him again. He's gotten it done for them, and he's always been a good goal line back over his career. 35, Chase Edmonds. Speaking of goal line backs, I'm kidding, but he did punch in 2 on the goal line last week. You hope he keeps that role because he's been outsnapped by Mostert so far, which worries me. But hopefully moving forward, Chase is the guy. 36, Craig Reynolds. I expect him to be utilized in that Jamal Williams role, and now he gets Seattle, who's a good matchup, and Craig Reynolds, he runs hard. He's a solid running back. 37, Raheem Mostert, I just touched on. He is out snapping Chase Edmonds so far this year, and I think you can play him in the Cincinnati matchup if you're desperate. 38, Michael Carter against Pittsburgh. I'm just worried about the lack of receptions. That's why I have him down here. And then J.K. Dobbins against Buffalo, just a tough matchup, and you don't expect him to be himself this quickly after that injury or be 100%, back and utilized. And Buffalo is in a tough matchup as well, so a lot of things going against him, but I think there will be brighter days ahead. And 40, J.D. McKissick, if they're down this game, he could rack up a ton of receptions. I could see that happening with Carson Wentz playing Dallas and that tough defense. If you guys have made it to this point in the video, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions or comments, drop them in the comment section down below. I'll respond as always. This has been Fantasy Joe. Thank you guys so much for watching.